joined BalVihar about 15 years back, and I'm a native of India, so I speak Hindi, and I wanted my children who are growing up here to learn Hindi and about the Indian culture.
Yeah.
So when my son was 5 years old, we found out about this school, and we decided to enroll him. And I think after 2 years, I started volunteering. So I've been volunteering in BalVihar for about 13-14 years now. And the motivation was that when your children are growing up in a country that is different from your own homeland, you want them to assimilate with the new surrounding, but you also want them to know their roots. And BalVihar is a place which can give you those roots, and it can really keep you connected. And we were very happy with this whole setup, because it's like you get everything in one place. So the children learn about their culture, they learn about the language, and that is what is the motivation for me to continue to volunteer here as a teacher, because I think the benefits that my children get, I should be able to share that benefit with other children also. So that is why I have continued volunteering. If you look at an institute like BalVihar, what happens is that we try to teach both language and culture. And when you're trying to learn about culture, there are different ways of absorbing culture. So when you visit your native home in India, or when your grandparents visit, or when your parents observe different festivals, you get some idea of the culture. It's a more informal way of learning culture. So if you want to learn it in a more formal way and really understand what is the philosophy behind these festivals and traditions, BalVihar gives that information. The other thing is the linguistic part. That language learning is more of a formal process. So you can, to some extent, maybe absorb culture from a surrounding. You can probably understand some language because you've been listening to it. But if you want to really learn the language, you want to be able to speak in that language, you have to have a formal education in that. And that's where BalVihar comes in, because it brings the culture and it brings the language. And it gives a more formal teaching of the language, which is necessary, because many times what happens is that people think that, oh, you're an Indian, you should know Hindi. That is not true, because Hindi for a child that is growing up in the US is not something that they can just learn. It is something that they have to focus. It's a concentrated effort from the child, from the parent, and from the teachers. So that is what makes BalVihar so unique, that you have a culture and language combination, and you teach one through the other. So the language is learned in the context, and that is how you really get the flavor of the true flavor of the language and the culture. So that is why I think BalVihar is a unique organization. I think it is important for Hindu American kids on multiple levels. One thing is that the Hindu philosophy is really what we call it as a way of life. And we believe that a child who knows about this philosophy can really live a good, productive, fruitful life. It really helps an individual thrive, because it is more a way of life. It tells you how to achieve good things in life, how to be good, how to set up your goals, how to get balance in life. And that is probably what we all try to do. Most of the times what we're trying to do is we're trying to balance things. And the Hindu philosophy is very logical in that sense. It tells you that, okay, you should have these goals. This is how you go about them. So when the child learns that in a logical way, there's more chance that the child will absorb that. And that's why we feel that knowing the philosophy, knowing the principles of the whole world is a single family, or knowing that you have certain debts towards your environment, towards Mother Nature, that you leave the world a better place than you inherited. So all these philosophies are embedded in the Hindu philosophy. And we think that it is not contrary to what the American or the Western culture is. It is actually very complementary. So it is something that is going to only do good things for the child. And it will help them realize their American dream, as well as meet their own inner satisfaction. So we think that it is really important for a child to know about their roots. I think it is, what we would say is that when you're trying to learn a language or a culture, it is a language and culture are in a symbiotic relationship. So you want to learn one, you should learn the other. Or if you really want to understand one, you have to also have a good understanding of the other. So my message would be that you should definitely not underestimate the importance of language or culture. Many times we feel that parents say that, oh, my child knows about the culture. Well, the language is a very big piece of that culture. So if you want to really understand the culture, you must have some idea of the language also, and vice versa. So my message would be that you should become a part of an institute like BalVihar that gives you culture and language, and plus it connects you to a larger community that has the same background. The sense of community is really, it really helps the child to grow and also feel comfortable about himself or herself. So it is something that is, it is all good basically. There is no pitfall that I see in being a part of an organization like BalVihar, and I think that's probably what motivates all of us to be, to to continuously do all these things that that are time consuming at times, but they're the most rewarding things that we've done as a team of volunteers. I think this is the most rewarding thing that we've done in our lives.